offensive line's pretty important for them, Tom.
Well, offensive line's a big need. Good news for the Bengals, all the guys are available. There hasn't been an offensive lineman taken yet. I wouldn't have been that surprised if someone like Justin Reid went here if the Bengals don't end up getting Eric Reid, because that's not an area of need for them right now. Because I think if they get an Eric Reid, that's not a huge reach to go get a safety. But they desperately need more offensive linemen. If that's the case, take your pick of any of the guards, any of the tackles, or any of the centers. You've got all those different options there.
All right, so James Rapien made the selection. James, of course, of 700 WLW and Locked On Bengals. Let's transition to that selection at number 21. James coming in with Mike McGlinchey here, Tom. And McGlinchey, you know, some people thought maybe he wouldn't make that first round, probably would drop to the second. He's off here.
Well, Orlando Brown was terrible at the combine, so he's kind of off the board there. I think McGlinchey makes sense for the Bengals if they really don't trust Cedric Ogbuehi or Jake Fisher. You plug McGlinchey in at right tackle. There's your starter. Guard and center remain in need. If you're the Bengals, what you are hoping for, you get a good offensive lineman at number 21, be it a guard, a center, or a tackle, and then somebody slides to you early in round 2. Maybe it's Billy Price. Maybe it's James Daniels. Either way, you get another key starter up front. This is a B. I don't necessarily love McGlinchey. I have concerns about him going up against speed, but I do think he brings talent at the right tackle spot. And as we saw last year, the offensive line is a massive need for the Bengals because it was just not good enough last year.
McGlinchey is off the board. So the Bengals have selected at number 21. Let's take a look at number 22 here. We've got the Buffalo Bills back, ready to select, and they have already made their selection at quarterback with Josh Allen going to Orchard Park. So what's next on the list?
Well, linebacker makes sense. You can pretty much cross off quarterback as a team there because they did get one of them there. Linebacker makes sense as well. I think receiver could be an area. There are a lot of good receivers on the board. My guess is linebacker or receiver here in the NFL draft for the Bills at number 22.
All right, we got Ryan standing by of Buffalo caliber, ready to make the selection for the Buffalo Bills at number 22. Let's see what Ryan has to say.
With the 22nd pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills will be selecting linebacker Leighton, Vander, Esch out of Boise State. The Buffalo Bills have a huge hole to fill at inside linebacker after losing Preston Brown to the Cincinnati Bengals via free agency. Brown was with the team for 4 years, rarely missing a defensive snap and acting as a defensive play caller throughout his time in Buffalo. With no moves made in free agency by Brandon Beane to fill that hole and a deep linebacker class in this year's draft, it was a no-brainer to make a move in the first round to grab one of the top 3, some people say top 5 linebackers in this class. Leighton Vander Esch was invited to a pre-draft visit by the Buffalo Bills and has raised interest by the team despite only having 1 year of major production at Boise State. In a 4-3 defense, which the Buffalo Bills run, the middle linebacker is one of the more important players on the field. They need to be smart, athletic, versatile, and hold strong leadership qualities. Asked to do a lot on the field, they are key to stopping the run and tasked with dropping back in coverage. They must be athletic enough to run sideline to sideline and be able to match up with both wide receivers and tight ends.
All right, shout out to you, Ryan of Buffalo caliber, making that selection for the Bills. Leighton Vander Esch, I like it.
I think it makes sense. And you could see Vander Esch go as early as, let's just say, 19 to the Cowboys. So if he's on the board at 22, if the Bills still have that selection, they need more linebacker help, and Vander Esch can be that freak athlete. He's a very talented player coming out of Boise State, is a really unreal athletic freak. And in terms of his combat measurements, were totally off the board and off the charts there. I like him. He still needs some work as an actual player. I think he's more athlete than football player right now, but the upside is there. I think he'd be a very good fit with Buffalo.
All right, we'll stay in the AFC East here. Check in with the New England Patriots selecting at number 23.
Thanks, Rams.
There you go.
So maybe they go quarterback because the quarterbacks have gone all over the place already, so maybe they want to get theirs now. I don't know if that's the route they're actually going to go. I'm looking at offensive tackle. You can get Connor Williams, or maybe you see, Vander Esch just went off the board. Maybe we need to go get our linebacker here because Rashaan Evans has not been taken yet.
Still there.
And I don't think he's going to last to their second first-round pick. So if you want Evans, I think you got to take him now.
All right, we got Bernd Buchmasser of Pat's Pulpit and SB Nation website ready to make the selection for the Patriots. Let's see what he has to say.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Buchmasser of patspulpit.com, and I'm here to make the first of 2 Patriots first-round picks in this year's mock draft. With the 23rd overall selection, I'm going to choose, imaginary drum roll, linebacker Rashaan Evans out of Alabama. Now, linebacker is one of the biggest needs on the Patriots roster right now. The team lacks speed and versatility and playmaking ability in its front 7, and while it addressed some of those needs via free agency, the linebacker position pretty much still looks like it did last season. And we all know how that went. So adding a player there definitely needs to be high on the team's draft board. Evans would totally be that. He comes from a system similar to the Patriots. Alabama's run by former Bill Belichick assistant coach Nick Saban, and would be able to step in as a day one starter opposite another Alabama product, Dont'a Hightower. Now, offensive tackle might be a bigger need as of right now, but the way the board has been falling, I'm picking Evans as the 23rd overall selection. He would come in, he would tremendously help the Patriots defense get back to the level it needs to compete for another championship. For patspulpit.com, I'm Bernd Buchmasser.
All right, thanks, Bernd Buchmasser there of making the selection for the Patriots.
We'll see him again in a minute here.
Yeah, Rashaan
2
Evans
picks.
there. Like the value.
I think it makes a lot of sense for the Patriots. They need linebacker help. Evans is really, as far as I'm concerned, the last first-round player on the board. Go get your guy, get him in. Worry about offensive line later on for the Patriots with their next pick. I think it's at least a solid B, if not an outright A.
All right, the Panthers are up next at number 24. What do you think of Carolina here? Interesting location in the order.
Cornerback makes sense. You can get Jair Alexander. Josh Jackson is still on the board. I don't think they're going to go edge rusher. I don't think they're going to go an offensive weapon. You could see him go safety, but in my eyes, there's a pretty steep drop-off once you get beyond Derwin and Minka to the Justin Reids and the Ronnie Harrisons of this year's draft.
Bill Riccette of Panthers Wire awaiting to make the selection for the Carolina Panthers. Let's take a look.
Hey guys, what's going on? Bill Riccette of PanthersWire.com here, selecting for the Carolina Panthers. And with the 24th pick in the 2018 Chat Sports Mock Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Justin Reid, safety out of Stanford. Reid to me is a very versatile player. He's become one of my favorite prospects, particularly for the Panthers. Was all over the field for Stanford. Very fast player, lined up in multiple positions for Stanford. So he's kind of really what the Panthers need to really fix up that secondary. You have 29-year-old Searcy. You have 37-year-old Mike Adams in the mix right now. And, of course, they released Kurt Coleman back in February. So they're trying to get younger at the safety position. And I think Justin Reid would be a perfect fit there. Wide receiver definitely is a possibility, too. They need a playmaker opposite Devin Funchess. But Calvin Ridley was off the board, and I think they can afford to wait a little bit on receiver. There's some guys I like in the 2nd and 3rd round that they can get. Edge is definitely a possibility as well here, too. Sam Hubbard, Josh Sweat, those guys. But Reid, to me, is the pick. Really got to fix up that secondary, and it starts with a versatile athlete like Reid.
Justin Reid off the board, safety out of Stanford.
I actually would not be that surprised if Reid sneaks into the back half of the first round. Maybe not necessarily to Carolina, maybe if he trades up for him, but I think he can be a free safety. There aren't a lot of those in this year's draft class. He is, by the way, the brother of Eric Reid, a very good athlete, gets a little too aggressive for his own good at times, but he's played strong safety, free safety, nickel corner. He can do a little bit of everything for you, but I think in the end, you're going to want to make him into a free safety. Panthers desperately need a safety, so from a need perspective, it does make sense.
All right, thanks, Bill, writer for Panthers Wire, making that selection there. Justin Reid going to the Carolina Panthers. All right, let's take a look at the Tennessee Titans, selecting at number 25 here. Recently signed Benny Logan this morning. Actually, the news came out yesterday, I believe. So that fills a need.
Vita Vea would have made a lot of sense had Benny Logan not been signed. So I guess we can go ahead and cross off Vita Vea on that. And I would have liked that pick, though, quite a bit. In that case, you're upset that you missed out on Vander, Esch, and Evans. Maybe you look for an edge rusher instead. Maybe you still go for a defensive tackle. Maybe you want Vita Vea anyway. Maybe you want Maurice Hurst. He's still on the board as well. Maybe you're looking for an edge guy like a Sam Hubbard or someone along those lines. Titans, I think, in general, are in great shape in terms of their roster construction.
Mike Herndon of Music City Miracles, an SB Nation site, ready to make the selection for the Tennessee Titans. So here it is.
Hey guys, I'm Mike Herndon from MusicCityMiracles.com, and I'm selecting for the Tennessee Titans. The Titans at number 25 overall select Josh Sweat, edge rusher from Florida State. I felt like the team had two big needs heading into this draft, edge rusher being the biggest one. They struggled to generate pressure without the blitz last year, and they've got two older starters with Arakpo and Morgan, both headed into contract seasons, and they really need to inject some youth and athleticism into this position group and start preparing for the future there. Inside linebacker is the other spot that I would have considered with this pick, but with Smith, Edmonds, Evans, and Vander Esch all off the board, it really simplified my decision-making process. Sweat was by far my highest edge rusher left on the board here. I actually had him third behind Chubb and Landry. I think he's a freak athlete at 6'5", 250, 7-foot wingspan, 4'5", 340. He ran a 6'8", 3-cone at his pro day, which is elite for an edge rusher. So the physical limitations just aren't there with this guy. He compares to me to Daniel Hunter from the Vikings. Freak athlete, uses his leverage and power very well. And I think he could be the next great pass rusher for the Titans, something that we haven't had here in a long time, probably since Javon Curse, a guy that actually he reminds me a little bit of. So hopefully he turns into the Freak 2.0 here for the Titans. For Music City Miracles, I'm Mike Herndon. Check me out on Twitter at Mike Miracles. Thanks.
Mike, appreciate that selection, sir. Josh Sweat, edge rusher out of Florida State. Tom.
Maybe it's a surprise pick to some, but from an athletic profile standpoint, Josh Sweat has the makings of a top 10 player in this year's draft class. The issue is, despite being an absolutely incredible athlete, he didn't produce at FSU. Now, part of that was definitely because FSU's defensive coordinator should never coach again because he had no idea how to use Josh Sweat or Derwin James for that matter. So you have to project a little bit here. I don't feel comfortable spending a first-round pick on him, but the athleticism is there. If you make him into an actual edge guy as opposed to more or less an interior defensive end, which is kind of what FSU had him as, it makes some sense. I think it's early, but I can live with the pick from an upside perspective, but it's definitely not the one I would have made.
Vita Vea is still on the board. We've got the Atlanta Falcons set to select. You've got defensive tackle as a potential need. Tom, is it finally time?
Just go take Vita Vea. Like, he should be on the board anyway. I saw a lot of comments about that. I agree with you guys. I will be stunned if he's on the board beyond the top 20 even in the actual NFL draft. If he does happen, that means something is wrong off the field, be it concerns or medical issue. But the Falcons need to replace Dontari Poe. Go get their new nose guard. Easy choice there.
All right, we've got Sinjin Snopes of Blogging Dirty, a fan-sided site, ready to make the selection. Let's see if Vita is finally off the board.
Everyone, my name is Sinjin Snope. I'm a blogger from the Fan-Sided Network, and with the 26th overall pick in our mock draft, I'm going to be selecting defensive tackle Vita Vea from the University of Washington for our Atlanta Falcons selection. I think Vea would be a phenomenal fit in Dan Quinn's defense, especially since the departure of Dontari Poe. They need a gap filler in the middle that can stuff the run right next to Grady Jarrett. And the 6'5", 340-pound Vea is just a phenomenal athlete for his size. His 9.5 career sacks at Washington in his 3 years, but that doesn't even dictate the amount of pressure he could force on an opposing offense. He is just a phenomenal player, and for him to fall to us at 26 is a great thing. So, yeah, thank you, and hopefully this actually becomes a reality.
Shout out Sinjin for making that selection there. Vita Vea off the board, finally.
A+ grade, easy, best one so far. Vita Vea is a top 10 guy for me. You get him at 26 and you fill a massive need. This is my favorite pick of our journalist-led mock draft so far.
Probably the
And probably the one I'm going to love the most out of all of them. We only
the
got a few left.
only massive need for the Falcons, too.
Like, if I'm the Falcons and I was at number 26 and I see him fall like to number 19 or 20, I'm like, hey, can I trade up to go get him? Because you don't have a whole lot of needs. You don't need all those extra picks.
If you're the Falcons, you're throwing on your Skechers and you're sprinting to the podium.
A+ grade. Well done, Atlanta.
All right, let's go to number 27. We got the New Orleans Saints now selecting here. Some big-time offseason acquisitions here. Patrick Robinson, Bushrod coming back. You got Davis as well. Where did the Saints go?
They would have loved Vita as well. They would love to have him as their one technique. I think they're going to look defensive line or linebacker as well. Not a lot of great linebackers left. They're probably not going to reach for a Malik Jefferson. I would not rule out receiver. Cortland Sutton still on the board, a big surprise to us so far. That would make sense. But you've also got Maurice Hurst as at defensive tackle. That'd be a nice fit or for the Saints as well, I think.
All right, so we got Brian Cruz of Saints Wire to make the selection for the Saints. He sent his in ahead of time. Let's move on to number 27. Taven Bryan, defensive tackle out of Florida, Tom.
I would have gone with Maurice Hurst, but there is definitely a mindset among many that think Bryan is better than Hurst because he's more athletic than Hurst is. I like what Bryan brings from a potential standpoint. He's disruptive. He's a really good athlete, but on tape, on the field, production-wise, he hasn't figured it out yet. Now he's raw. You're projecting here because he didn't have the same production that you need to have, as far as I'm concerned, out of a top 30 guy. But the upside for Bryan is to be a really, really good, disruptive, penetrating defensive tackle that gets sacks and tackles for loss for you. I think it's too early here.
I agree.
I would have gone with Maurice Hurst. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of this selection.
All right, at number 28, we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Could it be Malik Jefferson time here, Tom?
You know, they would have gone after a safety. I thought Justin Reid made a lot of sense until they signed Morgan Burnett. I'll throw out a name here for you, Cam. Darius Geis is on the board.
Okay.
Maybe you don't feel super confident about Le'Veon Bell re-signing. Maybe you want some insurance in case Bell does leave. Why not take Geis? The value is definitely there in that scenario.
All right, we've got Noah Strackbon of Still Curtain, a fan-sided site, ready to make the selection for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here it is.
Hey guys, this is Noah Strackbein here, site expert for thestillcurtain.com, here with the 28th pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 2018 NFL Draft. And with the 28th pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers will select running back Darius Geis out of LSU. Le'Veon Bell has made headlines all offseason for the wrong reasons. Unfortunately, that's going to lead to his departure way earlier than many expected. Whether it's this offseason or next offseason, Bell will no longer be with the Steelers moving forward. That means they're in major need for a running back, as James Conner did not meet expectations his rookie season and doesn't look to be a feature back moving forward. Geis is perfect at the end of the first round, really the second best running back in the draft, and a late first round steal out of LSU. Mason Rudolph is also an option at the 28th pick. However, Big Ben has 3 years left in his career, and the Steelers could certainly wait to draft a quarterback and the next franchise leader for this team. Therefore, Darius Geis is the option at 28, and the Steelers will move on from Le'Veon Bell moving forward. I'm Noah Strackbein from StillCurtain.com. Find me on Twitter at Noah Strack, and the Steelers will have a new running back this offseason.
All right, Darius Geis off the board. Noah Strackbon making the selection there.
I get it, and I'm not a huge fan of James Conner. You know that Lev Bell, in reality, there's a big question mark about his future. There's a big question mark about his health as well. You can bring in Darius Geis as a really, really good backup, give him some more time, or if you do move on from Bell, now you've got a ready-made starter to fill in his spot there. So, you know, with no linebackers that you really love, Malik Jefferson I don't think really counts, it does make some sense for me to wait and then get Geis and try and get a linebacker later.
All right, folks, you're watching our NFL Mock Draft journalist-led edition. We are presented by Mizzen and Main. Check them out. Comfortable.af is the website for these advanced performance fabric shirts that you will love. No ironing needed, no dry cleaning needed, and sweat wicking technology.
Oh, they're very comfortable.
What more could you want?
Oh, they're perfect.
Made right here in America. Check them out. Comfortable.af. Let's summarize the journalist-led mock draft to this point here. Darnold, Rosen, Mayfield, Fitzpatrick, 1 through 4 there.
Chalk, mostly. Maybe not quite for Patrick, but a good pick. I can live with it.
5 through 8, Tremaine Edmonds, Bradley Chubb, Quentin Nelson, Saquon Barkley.
Train starting to teeter a little bit here. You know, I don't know about that one. Allen is fun. Kind of got back on track here a little bit.
Derwin James, Denzel Ward, Roquan Smith to the Dolphins, Josh Allen to the Bills at 12.
Makes sense. I'm okay with those picks.
13 through 16, Daron Payne, Marcus Davenport, not a typo, Kyle Lauletta.
Train has toppled over the tracks, rolled down the embankment, and instantly caught fire. There are trees on fire everywhere alongside this train. We are off the rails.
Metaphors.
Yes.
A lot of them. Calvin Ridley, number 16 to the Baltimore Ravens. Chargers, Lamar Jackson, Arden Key to the Seahawks, DJ Moore to the Cowboys, Harold Landry to the Detroit Lions.
The Arden Key pick, one of the trees nearby spontaneously combusted.
Mike McGlinchey to the Bengals, Leighton Vander Esch to the Bills, Rashaan Evans to the Patriots, Justin Reid to the Panthers.
The second train has kind of gotten a little bit back on track now.
Have we saved any lives, by the way?
The emergency medical team is trying to get down there.
Okay, all right.
We're kind of touch and go here.
How we doing here? Sweat to the Titans. We got Vita to the Falcons. We got Taven Bryan to the Saints and Darius Geis for the Steelers.
Okay, we're kind of back on track. Maybe not so much with the sweat, but Vita Vea makes up for it as far as I'm concerned.
Alrighty.
Vita Vea was saved in this train crash.
Let's go to number 29. The Jacksonville Jaguars are now selecting. They're on the clock. What do we make of them?
Well, I think Jacksonville's in really good shape. Obviously, quarterback's a need. Maybe they just say, you know what, let's take Mason Rudolph because at this rate, he's not going to be on the board for you in round 2. He fits the Bill Parcellsian mold among quarterbacks there. I wouldn't mind offensive guard, though. Yes, you brought in Andrew Norwell, but James Downs, who can play guard, Will Hernandez, Isaiah Wynn are all still on the board. I think that's good value on that end.
All right, we have Ryan Day of Big Cat Country of SB Nation. He's ready to make the selection at number 29.
Hi, my name is Ryan Day. I'm one of the managing editors over at BigCatCountry.com. And with the 29th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars are selecting Mason Rudolph, quarterback, out of Oklahoma State because Blake Bortles is the glass ceiling for this team. The defense gave up just 16 points a game last season and led the league by holding opposing quarterbacks to just 170 yards a week. Opponents averaged just 5 plays per drive, which was best in the league, and they scored 7 times off turnovers, again, best in the league. Jacksonville running backs averaged 33 carries per game last year, best in the league, and 141 yards a week, which was, you guessed it, best in the league. That leaves Blake Bortles, who was 24th in completion percentage, 22nd in interception percentage, 18th in yards per attempt, and 16th in touchdowns. Mason Rudolph in the first round gives the Jaguars a legitimate quarterback competition in training camp this year. His production last year is tops of any quarterback in the draft, and he's missed just 1 game due to injury in the last 3 seasons. Go get Rudolph, and you've either drafted a guy better than Bortles, or you've drafted the guy that makes Blake Bortles better than he already is.
Thanks, Ryan, for making that selection. A writer for Big Cat Country. Mason Rudolph, Tom, 7 quarterbacks. Gone. 7.
This happens during the actual NFL draft. I don't know what I'm going to say. I suppose I could see Mason crawling into the latter half of the first round, but I think he profiles more of a Chad Henne type, which Jacksonville already had. I get and I agree that I don't think Blake Bortles is the true franchise option for Jacksonville. But if you're really close to winning right now, maybe you would have been better off taking a guy like a guard or maybe a Courtland Sutton because you know how I feel about Dante Moncrief. But I don't hate the pick. If Jacksonville likes Mason Rudolph, with Lauletta going at 15, the quarterbacks all got pushed way up.
So hell in the comments section, he just mentioned Sutton. The Jags skipping over him, going with the quarterback.
I am very surprised Sutton has not gone, but we've only seen 2 wide receivers so far. If that's the case, everyone kind of gets pushed back down because quarterbacks went way early.
Let's go to the 30s now. We've got the Minnesota Vikings now selecting here.
I'm looking at an offensive line, and you could go Maurice personally. I think that'd be a nice fit, but you want another starter. Hernandez, Wynn, Colton Miller, Connor Williams are all available. Go get your guard or your tackle and put Mike Remmers on the inside at guard. Either way, go get some more offensive line help.
Ted Glover of the Daily Norseman, an SB Nation website, standing by to make the selection for the Vikings. Let's see what he has to say.
Hi, my name is Ted Glover. I'm a writer for the Daily Norseman. the SB Nation Minnesota Vikings blog. You can find us at dailynorseman.com. With the 30th selection in the draft, the Minnesota Vikings pick Will Hernandez, guard, UTEP. With the signing of Kirk Cousins in free agency, the offensive line has become the overriding priority for the Vikings in the draft. You add that to the retirement of last year's starting right guard and longtime Viking Joe Berger, Hernandez seems like the perfect pick here. There's other guys on the board I like Isaiah Wynn, Billy Price, James Daniels, but those guys are a little bit smaller, and we're kind of a hybrid guard center, even tackle for one or two of those guys. Hernandez is a true guard. He can jump right in, assume the starting job, and when you got a line that consists of Reif, Nick Easton, Pat Elflein, who they drafted last year, Hernandez, and Mike Remmers, I really like the chances of the Vikings offense to continue that top 10 production that they had last year that got them to the NFC Championship game.
All right, thanks, Ted, for making that selection there. Will Hernandez off of the board, addressing a position of need there. Interior of that offensive line, Hernandez out of UTEP.
I would have maybe gone Isaiah Wynn, but it's kind of neck and neck with Hernandez and Wynn in my eyes. Hernandez is a better mauler, a better power guy. Wynn can move and pull a little bit better than I think Hernandez can. Either way, I think it's very good value here. It fills the need. That checks off both the boxes for me. I like this pick by Minnesota. Kind of getting us back on track a little bit after we had some crazy picks earlier on today.
The Patriots are back on the clock at number 31 overall. So we've got our guy, Bernd Buchmasser, ready to make the selection for the Patriots. Where do they go here?
I'd say offensive line. If I'm the Patriots, I'm a big fan of Connor Williams, the tackle from Texas. Has some shorter arms, but I think is the closest thing to a true and ready-made left tackle in this year's class.
All right, let's go to Bernd's selection here at number 31.
Hey guys, what's up? Once again, Bernd Buchmasser of Pulpit.com, here to make the second of the Patriots round 1 selections. And with the 31st overall pick, I'm going to choose offensive tackle Kolton Miller out of UCLA. The Patriots lost starting left tackle Nate Solder via free agency, and now they have an obvious need to fill on the left side. Miller has all the upside in the world. He is a tremendous athlete. He brings a lot of experience. He has very good technique considering his age. And as a prospect overall, he looks a lot like Nate Solder did back in 2011. Will he be a day one starter? That is tough to tell. The Patriots might opt to go with a more experienced option in Adrian Waddle. But at one point, Miller, if he is indeed the Patriots pick at 31, will come in and will start and protect Tom Brady's blindside. The way the board has been falling, I'm going to go with Miller here. He fits the Patriots from an athletic and a need standpoint. He would be a good selection in my opinion. For PetsPulpit.com, I'm Bernd Buchmasser.
Thanks, Bernd, for hanging along for the ride here. He's making another selection for the Patriots. He's going with Kolton Miller. It's Nate Solder 2.0, Tom.
That's actually who I see in a lot of Kolton Miller. I don't think he's going to be a dominant left tackle, but he's got the long arms the Patriots tend to like out of their players. And I think the way he wins is not by, overpowering you or being faster. He's so big and so long. He gets in the way long enough, kind of like I feel like Nate Solder did. I don't like him as much as Connor Williams or even a Mike McGlinchey, but I think he's going to go in that late first, early second round range. Patriots make a lot of sense on that, and he fits the prototype, and they do need to replace Nate Solder after all.
All right, it's now time for the final pick in this first round. The Philadelphia Eagles are now on the clock.
Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Can't put some respect on that name.
As if you picked them before the playoffs anyway.
I did not.
Yeah, exactly.
I did pick them to win the Super Bowl, though. Once they got there, I picked them to win. I thought they were going to get bounced early, so I apologize for that one, Eagles fans. They go a couple different directions. They're in really good shape. I wouldn't mind, again, Connor Williams. Sutton is great value here as well. The corners have slid, not a massive need, but Joshua Jackson, Jair Alexander is there. No tight ends left. Maybe you want Ronnie Harrison. I would have thought Darius Geis made sense, but he's off the board. So the Eagles, because their roster is in such fantastic shape, they can kind of go with the BPA.
We got Michael KIST of Bleeding Green Nation, an SB Nation website, ready to make the selection at number 32 overall.
Michael KIST here with BGN Radio, BleedingGreenNation.com, and InsideThePylon.com with the 32nd pick in the 2018 NFL Draft. The Super Bowl champion Eagles select Jaire Alexander, cornerback out of Louisville. Look, I could have gone with Connor Williams here. I think that's a very realistic pick. If Connor Williams is on the board at 32, I don't anticipate that. However, they do have an immediate need at nickel corner. They might kick Mills inside. But Jaire, big-time playmaker. His 2016 tape was elite. He's on the top 10 of my big board, so I decided to go with best available need along with best available player. I think they'd marry well. 2017, he had a knee injury and a broken hand, an aggravated knee injury that he played through and showed really good competitive toughness. It was the best defensive back on the field for that secondary at 60 to 80%. I love his ball skills, and then coming from the nickel, the change of direction, and the quick feet, the fluid hips, he has it all. So that's my pick.
All right, Michael, thanks for that selection. It's Jaire Alexander, Tom.
It's good value. Had Alexander not been banged up this year, I think he would have been a little bit more well-regarded overall. He gets a little aggressive at times, almost for his own good, but posted really good measurables at the Combine. That's going to help him. Maybe he's in that kind of Jason Verrett, Chris Harris, undersized cornerback mold, but quick enough to survive on the outside as well.
All right, so Alexander off to the Philadelphia Eagles.